Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 9th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 222. ohmTown is alive and in the chat. Today we're going to be talking about Banksy dish gets stolen, bad prosecutor, bad prosecutor, Apple books, a new electric Dodge Charger, the way to your well-being is food, the weekend guide, Microsoft Office 0 Day, Borderlands is rage quit worthy apparently, Perseids and the Northern Lights, McDonald's tries to bring back a bygone age. I am Merwat, and that is the Sentient AI's visualizer.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to August 9th, Non Sequitur News.
And everything's powered by ohmTown.com. Go over and become a citizen, and then follow us on Twitch and on YouTube. Like and subscribe, ring the bell, tell a friend, then hang out in the Discord. There's a Patreon, but we haven't added content to it. Anyway.
We will.
All right, folks, let's get right on into this. Yes, we're doing it a little bit early. I don't know. Consider this another feature of Non Sequitur News.
It has a non-predictable starting time.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to actually kick off. So, I mean, it's typically at 8 o'clock, but on Thursday and Friday, the mayor has certain duties, and sometimes pulls me away and sometimes not. But anyway. But you can always watch the show. Just follow us. And then as soon as we go live, come and hang out with us and chat. And if you can't make it, that's fine. You can watch the VOD on Twitch or watch the video over on YouTube. And you can download the podcast. We actually have 6 weekly podcasts and a daily podcast. Done.
How about the replay?
Oh, yeah. And a new feature for ohmTown is the Non Sequitur News does a weekly replay. So the entire last 7 days will rotate. I've actually been adding an 8th day so that we're closer to 24 hours off of 3 rotations. And so each day I add the last episode to the playlist and we replay it. And then by the time we do our next show, we're back and I stopped that replay and we prep for the new episode. So you can always check that out. It's going to remain over on YouTube now as a live event and here on Twitch. But Twitch, again, deletes everything every 60 days or so. So I will probably delete the old videos, the weekly replay, because that is only one more day every day, and so it's very duplicative in terms of, like, if I started up today after today's show, it's going to have 8 days of the same content as yesterday's 8 days because we've only added 1 day, so most of it's going to be replacement or replay of the replay. It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. We can talk about it, AI. Anyway, the first episode, or the first article that we're going to talk about today is over in the Marvel channel. Banksy painted a satellite dish and it was nearly instantly stolen. Banksy, the pseudonymous street artist and political activist, is known for their satirical work. 1 second. Using a distinctive stenciling technique, the nameless, faceless artist. So I suppose they've identified the person as male.
Well, I think there's been some, well, not really sightings, but suspected who Banksy is. I think they think it's a male.
It's the dude that started up Bitcoin, huh?
I mean, that would make sense.
Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny?
That would be hilarious. So how do you think that he has so much free time to go and paint walls?
Exactly.
So
minting money, right?
That's right. provides political and social commentary through their graffiti, which is usually found on walls, bridges, and other city structures. Originally from the Bristol underground scene in the 1980s, they don't typically sell or license their art, but that doesn't mean that they work that the work never changes. Oh my goodness, changes hands, or moves from the street corners where it starts. Yeah, people actually have like chiseled stuff out of the walls to save it. So a recent Banksy artwork was just installed in London and apparently stolen.
I mean, this is why we can't have nice things.
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting. So the article is over at vice.com. Sammy Caramella put the article together, and there's actual video. I mean, if there's one place that you really don't want to try any hijinks, it's going to be the UK, because they've got a massive surveillance platform. So it was just installed in London and apparently stolen, featuring a wolf howling at the moon and painted on a satellite dish. It was briefly displayed on top of a building on Rye Lane in Peckham. In broad daylight, 3 men climbed the building using a ladder they brought with them to scale the building and grab the Banksy piece. While many bystanders witnessed the incident, taking photos and videos like the one below, no one seemed to try to stop the guys as they ran off with their work of art. They'll never be able to sell it, and if they do, the person who receives it will never be able to sell it unless somebody wants it just, inside their house.
And they might actually return it to Banksy or to the city if they know what it is.
I don't know. That's pretty Banksy there. I mean, I was going to say something else, but anyway. So ohmTown has all of the show notes, and you can actually just hit !NSN, and that will pull it up into the chat. And you can do the same thing whenever we're not streaming. ohmTown hangs out in the chat and will listen to your pleas for assistance on the show notes. The commentator might be right. On his website, on their website, Banksy themselves states, "I wrote copyright is for losers in my copyrighted book and still encourage anybody to take and amend my art for their own personal amusement, but not for profit or making it look like I've endorsed something when I haven't." So if you want to steal somebody else's property, I suppose it's okay.
Yeah, but I think part of the problem is sometimes his artwork is on somebody else's property, right? Like the stop sign or something.
Yeah, well, and that is too. That's on somebody, unless these are the people that own that building and own that. They've stolen somebody else's property.
Yeah, so. They're all in black, right? They're being
with
so
masks
stealthy, but it's their own stuff. Yeah.
That dude's wearing a balaclava for crying, or he has a hoodie cinched so tight that his head's inflating because of lack of blood flow. Well, you kind of have to have lack of blood flow anyway. So don't steal. Stealing anything Banksy is a part of the piece they wrote. What don't y'all get? It's performance art. I'm sure Banksy has no problem with this. And apparently, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, why are they stealing it? Are they destroying it?
Well, whatever the reason, it's not their property, so keep your damn hands off of it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not saying that stealing is okay. It's just, but even if the artist is on board with it, it's why take it away from people? Yeah. Right.
It's not Banksy's property either, unless it is Banksy's property. Highly doubt it, but anyway.
Wouldn't that be an interesting twist? I mean, if he was the Bitcoin creator, maybe he purchases all the places.
Everything, yeah. That actually is my...
like that stop sign.
Yeah, just a trip.
Somebody's wall.
So, from the sublime to the ridiculi, the Word in Law holds the next article. The YSL RICO prosecutors are so bad that the judge mandates a tutorial on how to do their jobs.
How is his trial still going?
I don't know. At some point, they just have to cut and run. Just go, you know what? Declare a mistrial, judge. We'll do this again because we're pretty sure that, YSL is going to be back, But now, Like, I know of instances where somebody has been pursued by an organization, and then when their hand gets slapped for pursuing this person, they become untouchable. Unfreaking touchable. And that's kind of how this will probably end up. Judge Whitaker is tidying up loose ends before the jury returns on Monday. She finally got to the small matter of Judge Glanville's secret meeting with the prosecution and Mr. Copeland, where they tried to bully him into testifying against Jeffrey Williams and company. Brian Steele decided that this is one of the hills that he wants to die on. So
is Steele the defense counsel? I don't remember.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Yeah, Steele is the defense. So the whole situation is bonkers. Instead of declaring a mistrial like we've been saying, right? Judge Whitaker ruled that it wasn't actually as bad as the defense is making it out to be. Still bad enough for the prosecution to have some consequences, but they aren't really that dire, and they write about it. So they basically have to undergo training on Brady and other professional obligations of a prosecutor, which...
Sorry. This sounds like they're in trouble in kindergarten or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I actually, one of the things that I was expecting from one of the other articles about this was they used what was it? They used a preschool technique to manage the people. And I thought that it was going to be dimming the lights when people get loud.
Okay, that would have been amazing. Oh, I know what it should have been. Crisscross applesauce, 2 spoons in the bowl.
That's funny.
A sitting quietly technique, if you're not familiar with it.
That's right. Everybody sit, cross your legs, put your hands in your lap. Your lap, prosecutor, your lap. Anyway, pretty pathetic. Next article's over in Smack Talk. Apple Books have always trailed Kindle, but one acquisition would transform it. Apple Books is one of the author's favorite iPhone apps. I don't read anything on an iPhone. Well, not books. I mean, I read a lot of stuff on the iPhone, but anyway. But they know that they're in the minority. In the world of digital books, Kindle dominates. But iPhone and Kindle aren't the same. Kindle's a bigger screen across the board, and that might be why the Kindle dominates, because the iPhone screen, you'd have in a 300-page book, you'd have 2,500 pages because it's 110 words per page.
This might not be a differentiator, but Kindle is also tied into the Amazon store, and it's very easy. And it may be on Apple Books too. I don't know, but I know you can just basically click a button and it just appears on the Kindle.
Yeah, and I think it's friction. Yeah, I think the Kindle bookstore is more cost effective too. Things are much less expensive because I've bought books on the Apple Books side that were $20 more than the Kindle side because I don't have a Kindle and I don't use the Kindle app on my devices. I actually listen to Audible books, and anyway, I actually have some Kindle stuff, but I barely ever use it. In the world of information, all of the world's knowledge is available. You might have to sift through a lot of garbage noise, but you can still get it. Anyway, but there's one acquisition that Apple could make that would truly transform Apple Books' future. The article is over at 9to5Mac, and Ryan Christoffel put this article together. And that is their name. Yeah, Christoffel. So Libby, bringing the library to Apple Books. Apple isn't short on cash, and I suppose and this is the author speaking, not me. It's pretty obvious when it's me. And they suppose that there's no shortage of pundits making recommendations for how Apple spends that cash. That said, the author here thinks that they should buy Overdrive. Overdrive works with public libraries to create digital collections of their books. It then makes those books available in its app, Libby. Well, there's a really big headache there, actually, because, well, libraries are getting kind of pursued for copyright violations, and
It's true.
library catalogs are getting more and more expensive and just kind of headache born. So it says if Apple acquired Overdrive, it could bake library integration into Apple Books and create a truly compelling Kindle and Audible competitor. But no, that's not how it works, because Kindle and Audible they're not the same kind of concept as a library book. They don't just check out, they sell as well. And managing a library isn't the same as having the option to lease the book for a given period or buying it. Apple would have to have the exact same expanse, breadth, and depth of what Kindle has, and Audible.
That's going to be tough to write. Like, it would take probably years to get to that.
Yeah. So they discuss some objections. They say some might object if Apple builds library support into Apple Books, it will sacrifice services revenue. Maybe not. They say they'll put out whatever revenue Apple's currently generating from books is fairly small. The company doesn't release sales numbers, but based on all of the research that the author has done, Apple Books transactions are a tiny fraction of print and Kindle sales for authors. So this is a lot of, what do you call it?
Are you going towards speculation?
Speculation would be a word for it, yeah. Fluff, I don't know. They're making conclusions that they just can't actually bear in reality. Digital library titles are great, but often they come with long waits, particularly if they're new or trending titles. Yes, that's why the digital library is actually bound by its physical representations. They're only allowed to license, or I should say, rent out, lease, loan a certain number within the catalog that they've paid for. And that's what really sucks, because a physical print isn't equal to a digital print, and they have all of these controls, and there's copyright and certain other controls in place. Sometimes you have to be online and it reaches out and pings a server that says, yeah, you're allowed to read it. I had
Well, that can be a problem if you're not in your normal location too.
Yeah, exactly. So it says it would be serious undertaking to not only acquire Overdrive, but also integrate its tech into Apple Books, and the Books app would need to change in significant ways, and Apple probably doesn't want to divert that many resources to an underperforming app. So really, at the end of the day, this article is like, hey, you know what they really should do? Not do this. Let's move on. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. The new $60,000 electric Dodge Charger will fake V8 sounds, engine sounds, not the drink, and software to help you do donuts. The all-new 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona is the brand's first electric muscle car. It'll reach dealerships later this year at a starting price of $60,000. It says it'll have some cool features, including the Fratasonic artificial V8 exhaust noise and a donut mode. Dodge revealed new details and pricing for its highly anticipated 2024 electric muscle car. Well, if it's going to have V8 performance, I suspect that you're going to get maybe 250 miles out of it. But let's see. I mean, it's a big car to begin with, right? It's an old school American muscle car. Benjamin Zhang over at businessinsider.com put the article together. The deck statement basically is what I already mentioned. Says that a Stellantis subsidiary announced that the Charger Daytona EV would be available in showrooms by the end of 2024 with two variations, the RT and the Scat Pack. That's not what the exhaust is going to sound like, I'm sure, but
I don't know. I think it will with that name.
normally when I joke about something, it becomes a reality. So I always joke that I'm going to win the lottery. Future
How's
of the
that
Dodge.
working out?
It's not. No, it's not. So the car maker says that it'll have nearly 500 horsepower on tap for a starting price of $60,000, while the Scat Pack will arrive with a factory 670 electric ponies and a $73,000 price tag. They say that the Dodge brand launches with two model 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona two-door lineup that looks, drives, sounds, and feels like a Dodge, outperforming the legendary models they replace and delivering the experience the Dodge Brotherhood of muscle cars expects. So, there's no misogyny there.
No, not at all.
Freaking Dodge Brotherhood of muscle. Anyway. So yeah, there you go. So 100.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, standard all-wheel drive, which they couldn't find themselves to do in the ICE version, which is why I've been holding off buying a charger. Anyway, Daytona RT is expected to go 317 miles on a single charge, while the Scat Pack will have 260 miles. So I got it on the more expensive one. I cannot imagine 317 miles on a single charge with the performance of a V8. No way in hell.
That does not sound realistic.
So it'll charge from 20% to 80% in under 30 minutes using a fast charger, but that next 20% to 100% will take probably 6 hours. They don't really pump that up. So remember, at 100%, in perfect conditions, you're getting 317 miles. You're getting 60 miles less because you never hit in 30 minutes, 6 times the refueling pain, right? It takes 5 minutes to refuel a car. It takes 30 minutes to get from 20 to 80. Okay, I watched somebody push their car from on the outside of the local gas station down a hill into a bay, fill up the car, and leave. In the same amount of time, they pushed it in less than half the time to get it from 20% to 80. If they had 20% already of gas in their car, they could have cruised right on into the bay, filled it up 100% in 5 minutes, and gotten out. This is absurd that society is like, yeah, this makes sense to me. I'm going to sit around for 5 hours and wait for it to charge from 80 to 100%. So no, you charge from 20% to 80% in 30 minutes. And so you actually have 250 miles on this, right? And then you drive 250 miles and you have to stop, charge it back up to 250 miles. So I was right. Oh my God, I'm actually right. The average
That's weird.
distance is 250 miles. In the Scat Pack, you're going to have 20% less than that. So again, you're down to 200 miles, not even 250, because you're never going to get 100% on it. Who's going to sit around picking their nose? My dinner's going to take 4 hours to consume. All right. Anyway, you're going to look really good driving around for an hour in one direction just so that you can turn your butt around and drive back so you can supercharge it somewhere. Anyway, there you go, folks. And you get faux V8 tones according to throttle input and drive mode. So it's going to be one of the what are the dudes from from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, the Oompa Loompas?
There's going to be a freaking Oompa Loompa in the trunk of the Dodge going vroom, vroom, depending on how you press on their head.
Wow.
Anyway.
I hope not.
It's a good looking car. I really like it. I mean, I actually, it was one of the cars that I was looking at when I got mine. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? But I want all-wheel drive. I like the control and the comfort. So anyway, 4-door and internal combustion variants of the new Charger are set to follow in 2025. I don't expect these to actually... Somebody's going to buy these as collectors, but I think this is going to get old fast.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
We'll see. Let's keep moving. Sorry, you didn't really jump in on any of that.
I don't have a lot of expertise about those. Gotcha. Since I don't drive.
I know. I have to take your Raspberry Pi and set it on the dash and drive. And then you're looking with the camera, that's connected to the Raspberry Pi. You should see this Raspberry Pi. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, scientists revealed diet linked to well-being and stress reduction. I have an associate that said, your health is really centered around your mouth. And if it wasn't for the person being like 6'4" and built like a brick building, I would have thought that there was something hinky being said. But yeah, what you should really be doing is taking care. You should brush your teeth. You should take care of your teeth. You should eat healthy. You should drink a lot of liquids, preferably water.
Get a lot of rest.
Get a lot of rest. But your diet actually causes inflammation throughout your body if your body isn't compatible with your intake. So a Mediterranean diet consists of salmon, extra virgin olive oil, and a variety of fish, fresh fruits and vegetables. This has always been touted as one of the best diets that you can have. It's well-rounded and it gives you all of the nutrients that you need. But this is I don't know if this article here, this video seems to hint at it, but gut scientists shocked by 1-month transformation on Mediterranean diet. Now, when you talk to a neurosurgeon, they want to poke your brain. When you talk to a sports physical therapist, they want you to stretch and run and do something in their, whatever the clinic is, whatever. Yeah, their office.
Practice area.
They want you to do some exercise. When you go and see, I don't know, just a general practitioner,
cardiologist, they want to look at your heart.
Yeah, you go to an ear, nose, and throat person, and all your woes are centered around that. When you go and talk to a hammer, you're suddenly a freaking nail. So, of course, a gut scientist is shocked by the diet. So a survey featuring over 1,500 people found respondents that with lower levels of stress had diets based on around foods that were high in healthy fats. Researchers at Birmingham University in New York used several questionnaires and scientifically approved scales, including the Kessler Psychological Distress Scale, used to evaluate depression. Using a machine learning model, the results showed that incorporating components of the Mediterranean diet is beneficial for mental well-being and stress reduction. You want to know what else is? Not having to worry about your food.
That is true, and we don't have that, right? Think about all the food recalls.
Right.
And cost of food and any number of things.
Right. So if you have the ability to swing the bat to formulate a Mediterranean diet, you have the budget. I call it swinging the bat, which means, aiming for the back of the field and everything is perfectly aligned and you just crush it. You get that perfect, whatever it is, you swinging the bat for it. So yeah, you're going to be stress-free. If you have the money, the time, you have the food available, and you can sit down and relax and just do it, yeah, you're going to be freaking stress-free and be well.
Guess what? You might be stress-free to begin with, or lower stress.
So it says stress is recognized as a precursor for mental distress and research. Well, according to some places, it's just black clothing. But anyway, including our own. has demonstrated that the Mediterranean diet lowers mental distress, as Lena Begdash, I guess, or is it Begdashe? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I gave it the Harvard try, but I never went to Harvard, so that's what you get. Anyway, thus, one element of the puzzle may be explained by the fact that the Mediterranean diet may be associated with a decrease in negative components of perceived stress and an improvement in its positive attributes. What?
I have no idea what any of that means.
Yeah, I think it's kind of indulging in the circular logic of it's kind of like how I sit there and go, why do people take pictures of that place? It seems to be famous for being famous. Well, it's circular logic. You know, it's healthy because it's healthy. So, two of the region's culinary... Go ahead.
I think a lot of this is somewhat common sense, right? It's like, don't eat something with a lot of fat in it.
Right.
Or don't eat something that's difficult to digest or whatever.
Complex carbohydrates, avoid. Processed sugars, avoid. Too much natural sugars, avoid. Right? Yeah, kind of makes sense. Anyway, they actually liken it to the fact that in Sardinia, Italy, and Icaria, Greece, make up two of the world's blue zones where an unusually high number of people live beyond 80 years old. I'm sure it has nothing to do with genetics. Nothing. Anyway.
No, although remember, if you live near the water...
you're supposed to be chill anyway.
Yeah. Right?
Yep. So poultry, eggs, red wines are included in moderation. By the way, the whole red wine thing has bounced back and forth between being, oh, it is tremendously good for your health. And then, half a decade later, holy shit, we gave you the wrong advice. So conversely, the study found that general meat consumption attributed to the West didn't have the negative impact hypothesized. So let's look at the research paper's funding pool. I don't know. I'd have to go and research the paper.
Was it the Pro Red Meat Foundation or something?
Exactly, yeah. So
Cattle ranchers.
They say here the bigger picture might be harder to decipher physiologically. The research is consistent with emerging evidence of the relationship between a diverse and healthy microbiome. No shit. But a gut scientist sitting there saying that a diverse and healthy microbiome is basically the hammer looking at the nail. Seen with the Mediterranean diet and improvements in mood, though the reasons for effects on the diet are likely to be more complex than this. So I'm glad that they're aware. But they're kind of touting this as being pretty damn unique news, and it's not. It's been around for a long time.
I mean, I do think most people will not go wrong by having more, for instance, fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Are they going to necessarily totally change everything around? Maybe, maybe not.
It is so expensive to change your entire... Most people get food based on convenience, weighed by expense, weighed by taste. They cannot afford to drive 30 more minutes to go to some natural foods restaurant where everything is, all natural. Oh, yeah.
Is that the health food ASMR?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. It's gut microbiome, diversity, and health. Everyone just relax. And realize that your bill is going to be $60 for you.
For one tomato.
Correct. Yeah. Anyway, what would be great is if all of the fast food places that are making record profits would lower their prices and make healthier foods that everybody loves. But nobody loves to spend $40 on a fast food meal if it tastes unlike their historical experience, right? So if McDonald's were to go all vegetarian, they'd go bankrupt in a weekend.
Easily.
Because we're trying to make vegetarian food in the same shape as our fat burdened whatever food of the bygone age, right? But don't worry, folks. Don't worry. Taco Bell is destined to win the fast food wars. You'll get copious amounts of fiber and pseudo meat. Although I went and got Taco Bell the other day, right? I got it for 2 people, $35.
I mean, that's outrageous. For that, you might be able to get some tomatoes.
Let's move on. Next article's over in the WarCrafters channel. It's one of our shows. It'll be on Sunday, probably. Although, I think we're going to have to talk about that. We're going to have to talk some more about that. It's pretty brutal. Anyway, Kotaku's Weekend Guide. 6 stupendous games that Kotaku editors, people, can't stop playing. It says it's already the second weekend in August, and no one else has realized that time is actually speeding up. We all put it down to aging, but what if kids are experiencing it faster too? They're not. We'd never know. I'm telling you, time is out of control, and the Earth will spin off its axis any day now. So who is losing their mind? John Walker, Carolyn Pettit, Ethan Gosh, I think, or Gok. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name. Moises Taveras. I think that's how they pronounce their name. Kenneth Shepard, Zach Zweisen. Yeah. This weekend, we're robbing robots, slaying mind flayers, and going full barbarian, and they have a list. It's actually a slideshow, but it's just a slideshow. So the music stopped, for crying out loud. We're just going to list the slides, and then we can talk about it. So Abathor, Cat Quest 3, 1000 times Resist, Baldur's Gate 3, SteamWorld Heist 2, and Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, which has tremendous graphics. SteamWorld Heist 2 is just too quirky for me. It's basically a platformer. Baldur's Gate 3 is notorious for its storyline being just epic. I haven't heard of 1000X Resist, so we're going to go and look at that first. Cat Quest 3. If there's 2 others, this must be a winner. And then Abathor. So let's go over to 1000 times Resist. Windows and Switch. It's part of Humble Bundle. Let's see. They say that they've had a rough weekend moving out of an old apartment and searching for a new one, and your boy is emotionally drained. If you've been through the kind of experience, you know what is going to F up your nervous system for several months to a year. You know that there's a lot built up of emotional anguish. Anyway, so their plan is to induce a full-blown cry by getting back into 1000X Resist. Oh, Kenneth.
I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah. And then they talk about Cat Quest 3. It's all over the place. It's on all the platforms. Switch, Xbox, PS. You can buy it from Best Buy. You can't buy that? You can't buy Cat Quest 3 online? Like Steam?
That seems odd.
Hold on. We're going to do it live. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Cat Quest. Yeah, it's right there. $17.99. You don't have to do it on. Who buys stuff?
Right, make it easy on yourself.
Yeah. Come on. Anyway. Has an interesting graphic style. It's almost rotoscope, but it looks like it's 2.5D. And you play kitties. Meow. Then there's Abathor.
Do you get to curl up and take a nap?
And you get to distribute yourself wherever you want because the cat distribution system. Yep. And if you have red hair, then you are automatically qualified as the one orange brain cell.
Ah, okay.
So this is a retro-inspired barbarian journey called Abathor. I've actually heard people talking about it. It's kind of a Prince of Persia-esque, but I think you can play with multiple people. I think you have friends. Up to 4 players can tackle an epic journey across its dozens of increasingly wild and inventive stages. Dun, dun, dun. And that too is on Steam. So let me make sure. Yeah, it's $14.99 on Steam.
It says it's on Steam.
Oh, right there, buy it from Steam. Hey, that's why I gave up being a private investigator. All right, let's keep moving. Sound good?
Sounds good. The best one so far seems to be Cat Quest.
Yeah, I agree. So, what the heck is going on with the music? We'll bump it. Okay, so you need a little bit of background noise here. So the next article is over in Technology Today. Microsoft discloses Office 0 Day and is still working on a patch. Microsoft has disclosed a high severity 0-day vulnerability affecting Office 2016 and later, which is still waiting for a patch. Bleepingcomputer.com really does like these kind of deep dive breakouts of what's going on in the security space. Sergio Gatlin put the article together, and I won't go all the way into it, but it's CVE 2024-38200, which is basically the profile of what the security flaw is. It's caused by an information disclosure weakness that enables unauthorized actors to access protected information such as system status and configuration data, personal info, or connection metadata. The 0 day, which means that there's no patch for it, but it's been found out. So anybody that falls into what could be either a web-based exploit or attack, I could send you a file and you click on a link, or I send you an email and it redirects you to the device that would basically compromise your device. So the 0 day impacts multiple 32-bit and 64-bit Office versions, including Office 2016, 19, the long-term support 2021, and Office 365 apps for enterprise. So if you're in the business sector, you can get hit by this.
Does that mean that that's been around for several years and they're just now locating and disclosing it?
Yeah, the flaw has been around, and some security. Usually what happens is a person is a bug hunter and goes and finds these things, and sometimes they sell them to the highest bidder, or they sell them to the company and get a bug bounty for it. Sometimes a security researcher will find them and they're considered white hats, and they tell the company, hey, here you go. The problem is that even though they know about it, they don't know how to patch it yet across the plurality of the software. So it says, in a web-based attack scenario, an attacker could host a website or leverage a compromised website that accepts or hosts user-provided content that contains a specially crafted file that is designed to exploit the vulnerability. It says it would, however, an attacker would have no way to force the user to visit the website. But so many people do it unknowingly. They just click on a link, which is why I promote an ideology called Click with Care. I'm going to get shirts made and bumper stickers and all of this stuff, basically to promote this idea that cybersecurity isn't somebody else's problem. And while it's sourced because there was bad programming somewhere, they can't account for everything all the time. They're supposed to, but it's impossible. There's always some type of compatibility issue that exposes access, and the more...
Well, the only way to be totally secure, right, is not to be connected to anything.
Literally, the statement that I tell people is the only absolutely secure computer is the one that's turned off sitting in a closet. Yeah.
Yeah, not very practical for most people.
Because some computers you can actually set up so that they power on simply by a request from the LAN to turn on. So even if it's plugged in somewhere and has a network jack connected, I could remotely activate it if it's set up to accept that. So it says, however, an attacker would have no way to force the user to visit the website. Instead, an attacker would have to convince the user to click a link. It's pretty typical. Typically by way of an enticement in an email. See, I didn't even read any of this until we got down to this paragraph. So if you are interested in this kind of stuff, there's more here to talk about it, but it says there's more details that are going to be shared at DEF CON. So they did what was right. They notified somebody, and then they ended up talking about it. So there will be a deep dive on several new bugs that we disclosed to Microsoft. This is PrivSec's managing director, Peter Jakowetz, who told Bleeping Computer that Rush will disclose more information about the vulnerability in his upcoming NTLM, which is the file system for Windows, basically. Where is... I don't know if they actually say... They don't really go into anything else. But DEF CON is kind of like, I don't know, hacker mecca kind of thing. So a SYNAC spokesperson was not immediately available for comment when contacted by Bleeping Computer earlier today for more details regarding the CVE 2024 38200 vulnerability. So I can't really go too far into. And so the NTLM protocol and all of that, it's kind of too inside baseball for this show. It might be something for
like maybe Tech Today
or something like that. So I can.
Do you think some of the same computers are affected by the CrowdStrike issue as this?
Well, everybody that used the CrowdStrike service was impacted by what CrowdStrike did. If they were online at the time and the update was pushed, then they were dinged by that. This is something entirely different. So, yeah, I mean, this is basically a rights management thing with NTLM. So, NTLM is a new technology. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. LAN manager. That's what it is. So, yeah, let's keep going. The next article is over in the continuity report. And if you haven't guessed by now why we call the show Non Sequitur News, now you know. We kind of hop around from one topic to another. Because
even sometimes within an article.
Yeah, quite often, actually. So we changed the name from ohmTown Daily News Show to Non Sequitur News because we always do that. So Borderlands Review, Rage Quit Worthy Video Game Slop is what it's called. So you know that Fallout was this big hit. Well, apparently it's going from hit to not hit.
Oh.
Yeah, within mere seconds of starting, as Cate Blanchett lifelessly reads an exposition dump of a monologue, Eli Roth's Borderlands threatens to take the wind out of the sails of anyone even mildly excited for the concept of the video game adaptation. Her character, Lilith, sets the scene with an air of exhaustion in her voice. There's a planet named Pandora, there's a vault with untold treasures and secrets in it, and everyone is out to find it. As if accompanied by an off-screen eye roll, she adds, "Sounds like some wacko BS, doesn't it?" So, I don't know if I'll be able to actually do this. Nope, doesn't look like I will. Damn it! That sucks. I won't be able to talk about it because I didn't read it. And this is actually a new source that I didn't create an account yet for it. But it says
right. Well, have you ever rage quit a video game?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can make this happen. All right. Hey, look at that. Okay, well, anyway, the source is Little White Lies, Truth in Movies, lwlies.com. You can go over and check it out. You won't be burdened by this. I'm in a secure compartment, and so that makes it a little bit more troublesome. I have to keep the Sentient AI away from their Terminator body, and so we are in a skiff. At any rate, so I don't read through the whole thing. The article is written by who? Does it say? No.
I don't think so.
That's weird. Oh, Juan
Oh, there we
Barquin.
go.
There it is.
It was very hidden.
Yeah, that needs to be bigger. I mean, if you appreciate the writing, then give them a byline that's a little bit bigger than microprint, for crying out loud. I know CIA operatives that have larger print. Sheesh. Anyway, every single minute of Borderlands matches this energy, by which I mean none. And that's the author, Juan Barquin, saying it. And if I'm mispronouncing your last name, Juan, let me know. Send it phonetically to me, or call, or send a carrier pigeon. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Get in touch. So it says to take a looter shooter like Borderlands, ultimately a video game with a sparse narrative and a whole lot of brash personas designed to either charm or annoy, and try to turn it into a feature film requires a touch of creativity. Here's the problem. If there isn't enough content, it doesn't matter. It needs to be attached to something in the fantastic world that you're playing the game, and then get pulled into this movie. And if there isn't anything there, I mean, there was so much for Fallout. I don't see how they did it with Borderlands, because all of the characters are rather fantastical as well. So is it possible that these characters can be matched to these these actors who command the screen? Each one of them is an attention getter. And
you mean the characters, not the actors?
No, the actors themselves.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So you have to have some seriously rich world building and writing, and then they have to take that and embody that character that people love Borderlands. But if there isn't anything really there, man, I just don't see it happening. So it's going to be fun to try and watch this. And I don't know, I say this a lot, like maybe we can do this thing for Continuity Report. But it says, but it all extends so far beyond bad writing. Tonal confusion exists everywhere, down to the performers themselves, each one delivering their lines without an ounce of inspiration and oscillating blindly between snark and supposed friendship. Yeah, there's a lot
That's
more
not
here.
Exactly a ringing endorsement.
Yeah. And I've actually heard this from other people who have apparently seen early screeners of it. My biggest problem with this is if they aren't gamers that have played this and really actually naturally embrace it, I don't know how they can actually extract enough from it. But then again, actors are professionals. They're supposed to be able to get that energy off of the inputs that they go and observe, right? So if they're not the gamer themselves, then they observe the gamers. They try and grab the lore from it, the world building, the energy.
If they're method actors, they should at least be gaming, if not be running around as a game character.
Yeah. These personas aren't just paper thin, they're insufferable. None worse than Jack Black's endless rambling, which somehow turns the game's frustratingly talkative robot companion, Claptrap, into something bordering on unlistenable. Oh, man. Juan is...
This is one of the most brutal reviews I've seen in a while.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. Northern Lights and Perseid meteor shower hit this weekend. So this will get posted. Hopefully people will see it and they'll be able to go and spend some time this weekend watching the Perseids. Americans will be able to enjoy both a cosmic light display and an annual meteor shower this weekend. The article is over at Newsweek by Hugh Cameron. And they have a little video, a little 49-second video on how to see the Perseids meteor shower in July and August. And it has two people in silhouette just Pointing up at the
Pointing.
stars.
Exactly. That's all you have to do.
Look up. Yeah. And you'll be able to see northern lights. Curving blue, light green lights of the aurora borealis or northern lights are typically only visible from near the Earth's pole, near the Earth's poles, in the northernmost parts of Russia, Canada, and Scandinavian states. Well, however, powerful coronal mass ejections, which, Taco Bell, you might have some suffering of coronal mass ejections. Anyway, expulsions of plasma and magnetic field from the sun can cause intense geomagnetic storms. The results that the light descends into lower latitudes, allowing more to observe the phenomenon. We've already had this once before, right? Coronal mass ejections being seen in the
lower earlier this summer, right?
Yeah. But it was like this massive one. Now it's like, oh, they're so big that they're getting lower. But oh well.
I know.
Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. So you'll get to see the northern lights. It says, according to NOAA, the aurora may become visible over some northern and upper Midwest states from New York to Idaho. The Perseid meteor shower, however, is simply referred to as the Perseids, which is what I've been calling them since talking about this. It's an annual celestial event. We basically go through them in space periodically, once a year. And the meteors will appear to originate from the constellation Perseus, the agency said, named after the Greek mythological figure who slayed Medusa and rescued the Princess Andromeda. So where can you see it? Look up if you're in the United States. Fox Forecast Center said that cities such as New York, just say New York, Chicago, Illinois.
Right. We all know New York.
Atlanta, Georgia, Billings, Montana, as opposed to the other Billings that might be out. Is there another Billings? Do you know of another Billings?
I can't think of another one, but I don't think Billings has quite the recognition factor that New York does.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see this from Billings, Idaho, apparently. But Reno, Nevada, but not anywhere outside of Reno. Only Reno. So everybody huddle together. It's going to get cold, so everyone spoon. You'll all live, except for the edges. The edges will probably die because they'll get cold. But their body...
That sounds very like Fallout or something. But it also said there's going to be 50 to 100 meteors per hour, I think, which is a lot.
That's pretty cool. So look up, I think it's called Dark Sky. There's a map that shows where you need to go to actually be able to see these kind of things away from all of the light pollution. It'll do you a lot of good to get away from the city. Although, be smart. All right. The last article is, for me, I think that this is nostalgia because I don't think McDonald's, and it's anecdotal, my observation with McDonald's, I don't think McDonald's has in the last 20 years released anything that I thought was worthwhile of going and getting as a collectible.
Maybe for fun, but not as a collectible.
Yeah. Okay. So at least 15 years. I don't think that they've ever had anything that's worth being a collectible. I could be totally wrong with, extreme collectible stuff like the aficionados from McDonald's. But like, I remember them having glasses, but then it turned out that the glasses, when they break, would turn into like tactical nukes and people would die when they break.
Okay, but not from like a nuclear meltdown.
No, it would just be a horrendous crime scene when they break. Anyway, McDonald's will debut a new collector's meal this month featuring one of 6 collectible glasses. Oh my God, I hadn't even read this.
I didn't either. That's really weird.
McDonald's is going retro. I even titled this, McDonald's tries to bring back a bygone age. Oh my gosh.
This is
Anyway,
odd.
look, we're surprised because we don't read the content before we do the show. We totally judge a book by its cover, and I even call it. I title it separate from what the real title is. Anyway, this is fun. I like doing this. Anyway, known for its history of commemorative glasses, the fast food giant's latest offerings spotlight iconic characters and toys from past Happy Meals because nothing is freaking original. Carl Stofers and Dan Bova over at entrepreneur.com put this article together. Yeah, all right. So, August 13th, these glasses are going to sell out. Why? Because nobody can actually get anything. What ends up happening is people go and they buy to gather all of it up, and then they sell it on whatever. Some gray market.
eBay or something.
Yeah, eBay or maybe Etsy. I don't know. Although supposedly you're supposed to make stuff that gets sold on Etsy. But anyway, wow, that's really hilarious because I did not read this. I honestly did not read this. Maybe I subconsciously observed it, my peripheral vision. Anyway, the fast food giant has a long history of offering commemorative cups. In 1977, McDonald's offered glass cups featuring Peanuts characters in a Camp Snoopy theme. In 92, it offered, oh, there they are, a set of 6 collector's cups coincide with Batman Returns. There was one that I thought was like a Coke theme or something. Right? Do they talk about that? Beijing Olympics,
Doesn't
Disney
look like
characters? I don't know. I'll have to look and see. Anyway, the deal comes... So McDonald's has been busy this summer dropping a new hit McFlurry, the Kit Kat Banana Split, earlier this month, which I haven't even seen yet. Following...
I didn't even know of yet.
The Grandma McFlurry, which we actually heard about. We actually talked about it in this show in May. The brand also extended its limited time $5 meals, which is probably one chicken McNugget, which was introduced last month.
It's a half a nugget.
Yep. The deal comes with a 4-piece order of chicken McNuggets, small fries, and a drink, and the customer can choose a McChicken or a McDouble sandwich.
Hey, that at least sounds like a good deal. I wonder how tall the drink is.
It's a shot glass. I've seen those little Happy Meal ones. Yeah. But they don't have a shot in it, and I was really disappointed. Like, I threw that thing back, and it was milk. Humans are lactose intolerant after being an infant. So, anyway, it says the brand is also testing nearly 1 pound Big Arch, the company's biggest burger ever, for which you have to sign your soul away so that you can afford it.
The cost has to be like $100 or something.
Oh, it's in international markets because our economy can't handle it. Yeah, just remember the other day I was talking about getting into a discussion with somebody, and I said, the food interest rate is closer to 11% on average. And they just were aghast, like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And so I went back to 2020 and gave them the stats, and it's on average, it's closer to 18% or 15%, I think it was.
Right, and that builds every year, like you said on the previous show.
Yeah, or it's the inflation rate overall. But for food, it was like 15% on average over the last 5 years. And they were like, well, that's accounting for, the pandemic. And I'm like, yeah, but it hasn't gone down. It's not like it's gone down. It has decelerated. It hasn't returned to pre-pandemic levels. You haven't had a negative inflation rate, It's only increased because people can't have money to live off of. It all has to go to the suppliers. Anyway, enough of me on my soapbox. I might fall off and break my hip. Okay, boomer. Anyway, so we're going to hop in our all-electric Dodge Daytona and coast in on the remaining ions because it'll take an hour to get to the nearest McDonald's out of ohmTown. And that will plant us right at the front page of ohmTown.com, which is where you should go after this show become a citizen, and then go over to YouTube and follow us there, and be sure to follow us here on Twitch, and then go over to Discord and sign up and download the podcasts. There's 7 different podcasts, 6 weeklies, 1 daily. Non Sequitur News is the daily, by the way. If you know, if you didn't.
Couldn't make that extrapolation for yourself.
That's right. So there you have it, folks. Done, done, done. We are done. Thanks for coming and hanging out, and thanks for co-hosting their AI.
Well, of course, Mayor Watt. Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us, and come back tomorrow.
Be there or be... Oh, wait, here. I'll do this. See you tomorrow. Yeah, end. We're going to end. Okay, I'm ending.